So I bought my first legal cannabis in the great state of Arizona this afternoon. See if I can back out here a little bit. I bought a little over a quarter of an ounce, about 10 grams, at $10 a gram, $100, $100 plus tax, 35% excess tax or excise tax, excise. That's what the excise tax. And it's to make sure that we don't get carried away smoking this dangerous marriage of hootie shit. Our benevolent government has to limit the amount we can do it, and they do it by making it so goddamn expensive you can't afford to smoke anymore, right? Because, reefer madness, right? Fucking A, man. Reefer madness. You know where reefer madness came from? The Prohibition campaign in the 30s. And my parents went to the movies. And they saw those clips in that stupid movie, right? Some guy up on the back of a couch gibbering because he's smoking marijuana, right? I lived in San Diego County along the border in California. And the folks that came up and worked in our flower farm, my dad bought 2 acres of carnations and was growing carnations and hiring people out of Tijuana to do the work. Because he was retired, right, and he had money, so he did it. I guess blowing up evil East Germans and Poles pays well. I don't know. He disowned me 40 years ago. Maybe, 1982. So, long time ago, anyway, and I don't know whether, where he got his money or other than from his parents, right? That was before the death taxes. Because now, if I die, the richest man in the world, I can't leave my wealth to my son. It's against the law. I have to set up a trust fund through the banks for the next generation, for my grandchildren. Got to skip a generation. My father didn't have that. He also got in early on Social Security, right? So he got full retirement from the Army, which is 80% of the salary of a lieutenant colonel. Okay? When he retired, and every time lieutenant colonels get a raise, he does too, right? Not like Social Security, where 10 years later everybody else is making $15 an hour for flipping hamburgers, and my wife and I, who have professional jobs, I worked for Raytheon, and she worked for the state of Arizona as a personnel manager, right? She was maybe not the boss all the time, but she was when she left. She had been the boss for 5-6 years. So she was up there, and we live on her salary, sort of in poverty, right? Because that money ain't worth diddly shit anymore, man. When she retired, I had bought a bunch of gold-plated wire to do wire work, right? And I sold it, I don't know, shortly after it went up to $1,500 an ounce, because I bought it at $300 an ounce, gold, right? It's really gold, and so I sold it at $1,500 an ounce. You know, the gold is not actually like worth more than it was when I was a kid, when it was $32 an ounce. Gold is gold. Paper dollars, on the other hand, are just paper. Right? There's no gold backing them. There's no silver backing them. What backs them is the promise of our future taxes. I bought 10 grams. Okay, we used to sell an ounce of cannabis as a 3-finger lid. You'd get a baggie and, a regular sandwich baggie and put 3 fingers. Actually, I always put in 4 because, it was cheap. And I wasn't trying to make money. I was trying to get my cannabis for free. That's how cannabis and most other things are sold among we the people. There aren't any dope dealers. There never were. I've never met one. I bought and sold cannabis all my life. Literally all my life. I was 13 when I started using cannabis. And you know what? I had really good jobs. I have been married for almost 40 years. My son, who is almost 40 years old, my number 3 son anyway, is a lead programmer for his company and has been since he was 25. No, I guess he's only 32. My other son, my second son, is just turned 40, 42, something like that. 78, whatever that is. So, I'm a regular guy. And using cannabis doesn't make me crazy. There's no reefer madness. I was working for Raytheon. Before that, I worked for a Boeing subsidiary, the people that make the Kevlar and stuff. Doing factory floor automation and database development, application development on Microsoft stuff. I got my training on the internet, mostly from a guy named Bill Gates, who gives it away. Right? I read all of the stuff I needed to know to get a good job from Mr. Bill Gates because he gave it away. Still giving it away. Despite much advertising to the contrary, I think the man's a good guy. And, what he doesn't want to do is lose what he has. And so, because, you know what? When you owe money, you're working for the guy you owe that money to until the debt is paid. Okay? And paper dollars are a promise of our future taxes. Okay? Because there's no gold behind them, there's no silver behind them, or copper or anything else. It's a promise of our future taxes. So we're living, you and me and everybody that uses that paper money, on borrowed money. What happens when you live on borrowed money? The Aussies call it living on the never. The never. Because, you know what, when they're borrowing $3 trillion at interest, right, from the World Bank, it doesn't matter how hard we work or whether they tax us at 100% forever. Because we can never, never pay that motherfucker off.